interested and there would be participation in the group. So
Yeah,
that's
but we don't have its names.
Yeah, a couple of points. First of all, in terms of the approval process on any student group, we've had from time to time various student groups that have come forward with a very strong, focused agenda, and we've directed those individual, very narrow groups to work collaboratively with a much larger group called the Alliance Against Intolerance, which over the years at North Reading High School has had a variety of names, but it's always been called the Alliance. It's been called the Alliance Against Racism and Violence, the Alliance, or just the Alliance, but it takes on a number of issues. If you have a student group that is looking for formal recognition, one of the things that you have to consider in either approving or not approving is, do you have an open forum for particular groups? Several years ago, we had a request by some students to organize a Bible club. And the committee actually approved that at that time, based on the conditions that there not be an appointed advisor. That had under legal definition a very clear approval or not approval with regulations that went with that. We've also had requests, at least the high school has had requests over the years for other very specific topics for groups. But the big issue is that any group, any activity is approved on a pilot basis. It's approved each year for 2 years, and it must sustain itself each year for 2 years and before it is considered for formal adoption and as part of an extracurricular activity. I have not seen, I don't know, Mr. Resmark, if you have seen the actual list of student participation and whether or not that will be large enough to sustain a viable organization over a period of time.
One other question: there are no dues paid to the ACLU or anything like that from them?
Not that I've found in any research, not that anyone's told me about. And the people at the, say the adult branches, I called the national office in New York City and I called the Massachusetts state office in Boston. Not the state office, but the state branch of the ACLU. And they really gave me the impression that they're hands off for student organizations. They don't direct it, they didn't have numbers to tell me, they didn't have a lot of data. They know that there are student groups out there. If a student group gets formed, they would do what they could to encourage it. They were very happy to have me call and answer my questions and encouraged me to call back again, and once the club's going, have students call them for any support they may want. But I got the sense that the adult ACLU, so to say, doesn't have a whole lot to do with the student chapters. That's not to minimize your concerns, but that's the sense I got in talking with them.
I understand, but they do have a lot to do. If you go on and look at all the cases that are currently existing right now.
Oh, I'm sure it would come up, and if an issue arose and some, students called them and said, "Hey, we got to get you guys involved. We got this going on," I guess that could happen. I got the sense it's not driven from the national office on down.
Then look this. A mainstay of student groups is setting up informational tables in highly populated student areas. You are going to be doing a lot of it, so start early. So that's hands-on, all right? And then it says, let's see, if you have the person power and decide to do tabling, the ACLU of Massachusetts will be happy to provide you the materials to hand out. That's hands-on. Those materials aren't coming from kids from North Reading concerned with North Reading student rights. That's the ACLU with the hands-on printed materials, looking for a pipeline. That's hands-on. And, you know, not to disagree with you, but if we don't go into this with our eyes wide open, then my alarms have every reason to be going off. I need to know that our eyes are wide open and understanding that there's a pipeline here. They are hands-on.
But Maureen, this is under that, what you're talking about, the flyers and the table time, handing out literature, is under the, there are a few tried and true methods for convincing people to attend a meeting. It's not saying, we're going to mail you this stuff if you join the ACLU, and you're gonna hand it out. It's, you know, these are
They're available.
proven methods for spreading the word about it and trying to get more people into the club.
But it's more than methods, because they've got the materials. The ACLU of Massachusetts will be happy to provide materials to give out, so they're ready with them on hand to be distributed to students, and they
Yeah, but they're
distribute
not
them.
saying we're gonna mail them out to you as soon as we hear there's a chapter. It's
Yeah, I guess
just
As soon as you
available
call them up
for-
and ask for them, because I've got a packet at my house, I called up and asked for them.
Yeah.
They're ready to be sent out.
But again, I
This-
have enough confidence in the students that will join this club to set the agenda. and
How is this
deal with
different?
the topics they want to deal
As
with.
long as you have your eyes open and you
Well,
know that
but I mean-
these people are looking for a pipeline. You can't say they're not.
Well, I'm not saying they're not, I'm sure they are. I see in this what you're saying. At the same time, it's initiated by the students.
That's
The
right.
students
Alright.
have to
That's right.
call New York and say, we want your flyers.
And I really don't think that's the purpose of setting up this club or this extracurricular activity. I think that, as Mr. Rosmark said, it's been initiated, the club's been initiated by the students. It's not like the ACLU coming in here and trying to get students to set up this particular organization. I mean, I have enough confidence that the students in this would sit down and generate an agenda or generate discussion. And if they're looking for materials that would be materials that would help generate discussion, they can look in different areas, not just the ACLU, but in different places. I mean,
Well, they also have a
you know.
staff a faculty advisor,
Right.
which, you know, and I guess the other thing I would ask is, while I share some concerns that Maureen has, I'm sure that Students Against Destructive Decisions also gets information from MAD. I'm assuming that they get, so in a way, I don't see anything different in that. You know, I guess, I think a lot of the local organizations we have are probably somehow tied in with national organizations. But I do think, as I said before, if it's governed by the same rules as all of our other extracurricular clubs and activities, then they have a set of guidelines under which they have to work. So, but I agree with Maureen too. We have to have our eyes wide open as we go into this.
And my eyes popped wide open as soon as I saw a proposal for ACLU. So, yeah, we know what we're looking at. We
Yes.
know the organization that we're talking about. We know what's likely to come with it. But at the same time, we do have, I think, a faculty member involved who I think would do a good job with this. I think she gets along well with the students. She's interested in the political topic, but she's not going to go crazy with it. I think that, you know, we got good direction there. We're going to have great communication with her, with the students involved. So I think, yes, our eyes are open, but I don't see a great problem here.
David, do we need a motion for this?
This is, you are accepting this, or you're considering this for a pilot extracurricular activity.
2 years, correct?
Well, it's, you would renew it next year.
Okay, well,
Can I, hold on just one second.
Okay.
What's the stipend for the,
500.
okay.
I move to approve the proposal for a pilot program of a student chapter of the ACLU as an extracurricular activity.
I'll second it and do some discussion, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. That's it.
Okay. Again, my biggest concern is that there is an interest, and there is a level of participation in this, and we're gonna have a $500 stipend. If in 3 months I find out that, or we get reported back to us that there were 2 students, then I wanna reconsider.
Yeah, right. This is-
I definitely wanna see that there's some participation, some interest in this.
And I think we do that with every new pilot we bring on. We check to see what the level of interest is after the first year, and if there's no interest, then we don't renew it. And I know at the middle school, there were a couple a couple of years ago that we started up that just didn't have the interest, and after 1 year, they were disbanded. So I think that'll come back to us. And is this to start up immediately this school year, or?
If you look at the cover page of the proposal itself, the who, what, when, where.
Yeah.
Under when.
Okay.
It does say they recognize it's to be an official chapter
Okay.
for
Next
next
fall.
fall.
Okay.
But before that, we hope to begin laying the foundation of our chapter, drafting our constitution, mission statement, et cetera, during this year. So we'll have some indication as early as, a couple of weeks, who's coming to meetings, who wants to be elected president, who wants to start doing the work, and who's gonna start making a mission statement.
Okay. We have a motion and second. Any other discussion?
No, I'm not going to support it as long as I think that this group is trying to get access to our students. And I think it's outlined, it's perfectly clear. What can we do for you? Help arrange and locate speakers about pertinent ACLU topics. It doesn't say about pertinent North Reading student topics. So I won't be supporting
Okay, now I have a question.
You want to include Steve?
Yes. Do I have a seat, Steve?
We're discussing whether or not to approve the ACLU chapter.
As a
high school. Student
As a
activity.
high school.
As a
student
pilot?
activity.
Yes.
So-
We've been discussing it for about 15 minutes here. I don't know if you.
Has it been brought forward in the usual pattern?
Yes, we have it in front of us. Mrs. Baca noted that we don't really have any names of any students who want to participate or numbers, and discuss some of her concerns and our concerns. David has noted that this is a pilot, and if after the first year there isn't sufficient interest for students, it likely will no longer be an official organization if there's no one to.
Right, in fact, the policy says 2 years, right?
Right, 2-year pilot, yeah.
I have no problem supporting it as a pilot program.
So we have a motion by Mrs. Davis, a second by Mr. Venezia to approve as a pilot program, student chapter at North Reading High School of the American Civil Liberties Union, with a stipend of $500 for the staff advisor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
4 to 1. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next, we're gonna bring up Mr. Chuck Carucci, long-standing head of our secondary school building committee.
I don't know if it's anything to brag about.
Long-standing patient head of our secondary school building committee.
Well,
Long
It's been a while
suffering
since I've been here,
Yeah,
or any of us have been here. I know Steve fills you in a little bit
yeah.
of what's happening. We did start it back up again in 2005, February, so we're going on to our 4th year. I think that we have completed our basic charge, all right? To feed in the information, what should be done for the statement of interest, which means we took into consideration the class sizes, sciences, the maths, also the structural part of the building, also talking about where to lay out the new school. We did have some site work done to see where the building would fit. And that's where we're at. So we made our application into the state. They were going to come out sometime in the spring, but I don't think that's going to happen.
We haven't seen any movement, have we,
I
David?
don't think it's going to happen.
No, we haven't.
So we've completed our charge. We don't know where you want us to go from here.
And I think that's why you're here tonight, because you have completed your charge, you came up with some ideas. As you said, you did get some site work done, addressed all of the issues with class sizes, et cetera. And I know that David and I attended a meeting back about a month ago with MSBA members. And Chuck, I don't know if you were there for that meeting, the last one where the
No,
guy,
I wasn't there
where
for the last.
one of the guys from the MSBA was talking about how great our middle school was. You would have been interested to have heard that meeting
Well,
conversation.
put that into context.
Okay, I put it, great.
No,
A great school for the era in which it was built.
Yes.
But still a great school nonetheless.
It